Las Vegas, Sin City. A place where dreams are made and broken in the blink of an eye. A glittering oasis of indulgence in the Nevada desert. A city that never sleeps, where the lights shine bright and the nights are long. We know it for its casinos, its shows, its promise of a good time. The allure of the slot machines, the thrill of the roulette wheel, the spectacle of world-class entertainment. But behind the neon lights and the clinking glasses, a darker story was unfolding in the early 2000s. A turf war, a battle for control. The glitz and glamour masked a brewing storm. This wasn't about gambling debts or mafia hits. It was something more insidious, more pervasive. This was the Las Vegas Strip Club Wars, a conflict that would change the face of the city's nightlife forever. The Strip, always a hotbed of competition, saw its nightlife industry explode. Clubs were popping up everywhere, each one more extravagant than the last. Gentlemen's clubs became big business. They were no longer just seedy joints, they were high-end establishments catering to the rich and famous. Millions of dollars were at stake. The revenue from these clubs was astronomical, and everyone wanted a piece of the pie. The fight for customers, for territory, turned vicious. Bouncers became enforcers, and security was a constant presence. It spilled out from the velvet ropes and onto the neon-lit streets. The violence was no longer contained within the clubs. It was everywhere. This wasn't just competition anymore. This was war. A war that saw no boundaries, no rules. The strip club wars were a stark reminder that even in a city built on fantasy, reality has a nasty habit of biting back. The dream of Vegas was tainted by the harshness of its underbelly. It showed that beneath the glamour and the glitz, Vegas was still a town where money talked and sometimes people died. The strip club wars left a lasting scar on the city, a reminder that in the pursuit of wealth and power, the cost can be devastatingly high. At the heart of this storm were men like Rick Rizzolo, owner of the infamous Crazy Horse 2. This club wasn't just a place of entertainment, it was a fortress of power, a symbol of Rizzolo's dominance in the underworld of Las Vegas. The neon lights of Crazy Horse 2 shone brightly, but behind the glitz and glamour lay a world of shadows and secrets. A man who oozed power and influence, Rizzolo was a key player in this high-stakes game. His connections ran deep, from the corridors of political power to the dark alleys where deals were made. Rizzolo's presence was felt everywhere, and his reputation was one of both fear and respect. On the other side of the poker table sat rivals like Michael Ghilardi, whose Jaguar strip club empire posed a direct threat to Rizzolo's dominion. Ghilardi was no less formidable, with his own network of influence and a keen eye for opportunity. The Jaguar's strip club was more than a business. It was a statement, a challenge to Rizzolo's reign. These weren't just businessmen, they were titans, clashing in a battle for the soul of Vegas nightlife. Their confrontations were not just about territory or profits. They were about legacy, about who would be remembered as the true kingpin of the city that never sleeps. Each had their own army of loyal followers, their own tactics for securing power. These men were strategists, always thinking several moves ahead, always ready to outmaneuver their opponents. Their followers were fiercely loyal, bound by a code of honor and a promise of reward. Alliances were forged, broken, and rewritten in blood. Trust was a rare commodity, and betrayal was always a heartbeat away. In this world, a handshake could seal a deal or mark the beginning of a deadly feud. The rivalry was fierce, fueled by ego, greed, and a ruthless ambition that left little room for compromise. Every glance, every gesture was loaded with meaning, a silent declaration of war. The stakes were personal, and the consequences were often deadly. These men played for keeps, and in this game, the stakes were higher than just money. They gambled with their lives, their futures, and the futures of those who followed them. Every decision, every move was a calculated risk, a step closer to ultimate victory or devastating defeat. Lives were on the line. The streets of Las Vegas were a battleground, and the casualties were real. In the end, only one could emerge as the true kingpin, the undisputed ruler of the Neon Empire. This was a conflict where bullets spoke louder than words. Drive-by shootings became commonplace, shattering the illusion of glamour and safety. Innocent bystanders caught in the crossfire, their lives forever changed by the ruthlessness of others. One incident, etched in the city's memory, involved the brazen daylight shooting of a limousine driver. The target? Believed to be a rival club owner. The message? Clear. This was a fight to the finish, no matter the cost. Fear became a constant companion, the violence escalating, threatening to consume everything in its path. Las Vegas, a city that thrived on its image of carefree abandon, was now facing a very different kind of reality. The reign of terror couldn't last forever. The feds, initially slow to react, were finally taking notice. Operation Girls, Guns, and G-Strings, that's what they called. An investigation launched to dismantle the criminal empires operating under the neon lights. The FBI, working with local law enforcement, went undercover. They infiltrated the clubs, gathering evidence, building their case. They listened to conversations, piecing together the complex web of alliances and rivalries. Wiretaps were placed, revealing the inner workings of these criminal enterprises. These weren't just isolated incidents. This was organized crime, deeply embedded in the fabric of the city, and the authorities were determined to tear it all down. Trials and tribulations of the strip club elite. The arrests were swift, high-profile, and sent shockwaves through the city. The media was abuzz, and the public watched with bated breath as the drama unfolded. Rick Rizzolo, the once untouchable king of Crazy Horse 2, found himself in the legal crosshairs. His reputation, once formidable, was now in tatters. Charged with racketeering and tax evasion, his empire began to crumble. The charges were severe, and the evidence against him was overwhelming. Michael Gilardi, too, faced the music. His involvement in illegal activities was no longer a secret. His Jaguars Club empire, built on a foundation of intimidation and violence, began to fall apart under the scrutiny of the law. The raids were relentless, and the investigations thorough. Trials commenced, the details of their crimes laid bare for the jury to see. The courtroom was a battleground, with lawyers presenting damning evidence. Witnesses, some initially too afraid to speak, came forward. Their testimonies were crucial in painting a vivid picture of the criminal activities. They testified against their former bosses, shedding light on the dark underbelly of the strip. The tension in the courtroom was palpable as each witness took the stand. The trials were a spectacle, a public airing of Sin City's dirty laundry. The media frenzy outside the courthouse was relentless, with reporters capturing every moment. The public was divided, some seeing the defendants as victims of a corrupt system, while others viewed them as the embodiment of greed and corruption. The legacy of these trials would linger, a stark reminder of the thin line between power and downfall in the glittering world of Las Vegas. Justice, in the end, was served, but the scars left behind would take years to heal. The strip club elite had fallen, and the city would never be the same.